Hello, fifth grade. This is your very first literacy lesson for Ready Gen for fifth grade. Once the screen pops up, you'll see that we're actually starting in Unit 2. So, Unit 2B of Ready Gen, and our theme is finding courage. So, our very first lesson today is all about that word courage and thinking about it and thinking about people we know in our lives that have shown courage or times that you have pulled some courage out and acted on it. We're also going to talk about what courageous means. And we're really going to think of different facets of courage, what courage can look like. Okay, so it's a very mature topic and very interesting to think about different ways that people show courage. So let's go through our slideshow. So, our first question is to think about, well, what is courage and what do you think it means to show courage? So, you're probably thinking in your head, well, to be brave. And you're right. And there's a great picture of my face here of a cat who's feeling courageous, I'm thinking, because his shadow is showing that lion, right? So, it's a feeling that we have of being brave and standing up and doing something, even though we might be a little scared. Okay. So showing courage is really a very good synonym of being brave. Now, when have you or someone you know shown courage? So I want you to think of an example of when something's been hard for you, but you still try, or an example of someone nearby that you've admired that were scared, but they said something to help the situation so they weren't scared anymore. Maybe you had a friend that was being mean to another friend, and you decided to say something even though you were a little uncomfortable doing that. That's courage, standing up for what's right and actually saying something and not just letting it happen and walking away. So I hope that you're thinking about examples in your life where you know someone that has shown courage. And maybe it's you that you're thinking about. Now, here, there's supposed to be big words on this slide, but I'm going to walk you through each one and each topic. But the topic is courage, but these are all, I'm trying to move my face so I'm out of the way. There we go. Um, these are all different areas, examples of courage. So I want to talk through each one at a time with you. I'll start at the top with the red one, which is feeling fear, yet you're still choosing to act. Okay, so you might be scared inside, but you're choosing still to push forward and try and help the situation. You're not going to hide and run and go somewhere else or avoid it or not or pretend it never happened. You're feeling fear, but you're still choosing to do something. That is showing courage. So you're doing something to help it, even if you might face some danger or be uncomfortable about it because you know it's right. So feeling fear yet choosing to act is a great example of what courage is. Another example over here in the orange is following your heart. So doing something that you love, even if it will be difficult, because you have that feeling inside, like I know it's right. I just have to. I just have to do it because um, I know it's the right thing to do. I need to act on it rather than avoid it. So following your heart because you have that feeling inside that I know this is right. I'm going to show courage and do what my inside's telling me. And the next one in yellow is persevering in the face of adversity. Wow, those are really big words. But persevering, you might be thinking how that's close to the word perseverance, which I'm sure your teachers have used that word perseverance. Still trying, even though it's hard. Try again. It's hard, but you're trying again, trying again. Perseverance. You don't give up. Okay, persevering in the face of adversity. Ooh, adversity means things are going against you, things are going wrong for you. So you're still going to try, you're going to persevere, even though things are hard and going against you and things aren't going well. That's also showing courage if you persevere, even though your surroundings and things in your life are not going well. So continuing to try hard even when things are hard, persevering in the face of adversity. And then the green one down here, this one is standing up for what is right. So if you notice something going wrong, or we've read, or you may have studied Rosa Parks before, she stood strong for what is right. She was getting asked to move out of her seat or have something not as high quality as a white person, and she refused to continue letting that happen. No, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to say something. I am not moving. I'm staying in this bus seat. That is right that I stay here. So she chose to act or speak up for what is right, even if it doesn't affect you. So it did affect her, but you can even stand up for what's right for another person that's getting mistreated, even though it doesn't really affect you. You can still say something. You choose to stand up for what is right. So those are 5 categories of courage that we're going to study today. And we're going to do a sort on them. So we're going to be using some very popular quotes from important people in our history and even from some books. And we're going to try and decide which category each one goes in. So I'll walk you through it, but I want you to read each quote, even though there's some big words used. It's a bit of a challenge, but I will walk you through it, okay? So stay with me. So here's our pretty slide that we're still thinking about what is courage, and we're going to work in a group, but we'll be a partner, you and me. And we're going to sort some quotes into one of the 5 types of courage. Okay, so now this is kind of looks very busy, I know, but I'm going to help you, and I want you to stay with me and think about the 5 types of courage that we're studying today. Okay, so right now, what I can do is click and drag, and I'm going to move our titles to the top. So that one says feeling fear, yet choosing to act still. And here's following your heart. And here's expanding your horizons and letting go of the familiar. Oh, maybe I didn't really say much about that one on the slide before. I'm sorry about that. Let me tell you right now. Apologize. So expanding your horizons and letting go of the familiar means you're comfortable with something, but you're going to be courageous and you're going to try something you've never done before. Try something you never tried before, like tasted before, new foods, new places, change a routine. Even though you were comfortable with something, you're going to try something new. That's expanding your horizons. I'm sorry I didn't say that in the slide before. And then we've got persevering in the face of adversity, standing up for what is right. Okay, so now we have all these quotes. Oh my goodness, there's so much on here. And we're going to read one at a time, and we're just going to try and decide together the best category it should fit in. And I'll tell you that I've done this with my students before, and they put up some great debates on how some of these quotes really could fit in more than one category. So stay with me, think it through, and we'll decide our best together. But you might have a second choice in your brain too, like, even though she put it in that yellow one, I think it could also fit over here in the pink one. Okay, so to stay with me while we try one at a time, and I'll discuss it with you. And so I'm hoping at home you read it with me, you try your best, and make a decision which category you think this quote best fits in. Okay, so let's start with this first one here. I'm going to choose here. Okay, so I don't know which category it goes in, but this is the one we're going to be reading. And let's see if I can put a spotlight on. Focus mouse. There we go. This one right here. Man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. So this is from Lord Chesterfield. So we're thinking man cannot discover new oceans. So you can't see new things unless you push yourself, have some courage to get out of your comfort zone. So remember that one I was saying where, okay, you've got your routine, you've got the things that you're comfortable with, but you need to move out and find some courage and try something new. So man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. Lose sight of what you know and try something new. Are you thinking expanding your horizons and letting go of the familiar. I think that's the best spot for that. I hope that's what you were thinking too. Man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. So that takes a lot of courage to push yourself into new things, new activities, new school, a new home, trying new things, a new game, going and meeting a new friend, you know, trying new foods at the dinner table, right? Expanding your horizons. The next one I thought we'd do is also a shorter one, and it's this one here, Speak Your Mind Even If Your Voice Shakes by Maggie Kuhn. Now, speak your mind even if your voice shakes. Now, if my voice is shaking, that's telling me I'm scared. And I'm sure you know what we're talking about with when your voice shakes because you're nervous, you're scared, you're afraid. But this quote is saying, still speak, even though it might quiver is the word. You still be brave, find that courage, and speak your mind. So speak your mind even if your voice shakes. Which category do you think that would probably be best in? This probably could fit in more than one, but I'm hoping you're with me. Which category up here? How about probably the best one is standing up for what is right. I gotta say something. I have to do it even though I'm scared right now, but I know it's right, so I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna speak my mind. I think that's the best spot for it. Speaking up for what is right. So speak your mind even if you're scared. Okay, let's go over here to the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So I believe this is coming from the book, the actual text. So there is no living thing that is not afraid when it faces danger. All living things, when they face danger, it's going to be afraid, right? But the courage is actually facing that danger when you are afraid. The true courage is in facing danger when you are afraid. So rather than running from it, wishing it was gone and hiding, you're facing it. So that's showing courage if you face it. So what are you thinking for this one? Which one? Feeling fear but choosing to act, following your heart, or persevering in the face of adversity? Feeling fear, the true courage is facing danger. So facing it. Are you thinking over here? Feeling fear yet choosing to act. Yes. You're still feeling it, but you're going to do something about it. That's probably the best category for that quote. Okay, let's try down here this one. All right. By Midori Komatsu. Passion is what drives us crazy. What makes us do extraordinary things, to discover, to challenge ourselves. Passion is and should always be the heart of courage. So courage is felt here in your heart as well, and passion, right? So passion is and should always be the heart of courage. Well, it kind of says it in that quote, right? So passion is going to help us be courageous to follow our heart. So let's put that one in following your heart. Okay, you probably know where I'm going with this one, but let's read it and think it through. Go back, he thought. No good at all. Go sideways? Impossible. Go forward? Only thing to do. On we go. So up he got and trotted along with his little sword held in front of him, and one hand feeling the wall, and his heart all of us patter and a pitter. So that's from the book The Hobbit. So go back? No. Go sideways? No, impossible. Go forward? Yes. Pushing, even though this is hard. So, yeah, I'm sure you know this one, right? Persevering, trying hard again and again, even though things are hard in the face of adversity. Very good. Yep, right up there. Pushing forward. Okay, let's do our Nelson Mandela quote, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it, the victory over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear, wins that fear. So I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid. We all feel afraid. Every person, even if you're brave, will feel afraid, but he who actually conquers it and goes for it. So let's see. This one, he's definitely feeling afraid, but he's still doing something about it. He's conquering it. So he's feeling fear, but choosing to act. Now I'm going to stop there. We've got some examples in all the categories. And if your teacher gave this activity to you, you can continue it in some of your asynchronous time and you can work on your sort. But I think I got you in a very good spot, understanding how you really have to think through each quote and decide which category of courage do they belong in. Okay, now next we're going to look at an observation chart. Let me pull it up. Okay, so one more slide before the observation chart. And this slide is showing us, let's see if I can get it off of that highlights view. Is it still doing it? Whoops. Okay, so let's look at our enduring understanding for this whole unit, okay? So we, as learners, we're going to understand various social movements and how they have affected large groups of people. Social movement. So social, you're thinking people, movement, a change, moving in a direction, a change. So a social movement is a change that takes place when a group of people work together for a common goal. Okay, so we're going to be read about several different groups of people in this unit. And a social movement usually happens in response to a conflict or oppression. So I think you're thinking about even our world right now. We have conflict with certain social groups, and this is directly tied to what we're going to be reading as well. Okay, so we're going to be working and discussing and learning about social movements that have happened in our history and that are still happening now. Okay, so let's go with actually our observation chart. So I want to show you a bunch of pictures where we are going to I'll give you a glimpse of where we're going in this unit so you can kind of get your wheels turning in your brain, okay? So here is a slideshow. There aren't any words. So if we were together, I would ask you to just use some Post-its possibly and write down what you're thinking and what you're seeing in a small group. But we'll do this kind of together. And so I want you looking as best as you can at these images and we'll talk it through. So that actually is slide 6, which is where we'll land. Let's see if I could just give you a glimpse at the other slides real quick as well. So you're going to see photographs. You're going to see even a primary source or two, which we'll keep on talking about through our unit. All right, so slide 1. Sorry, it's taking a second. I can pause while it loads if needed. Okay, so here we go. Here's our first slide. And right in the middle, I'm drawn to looking at stop animal cruelty. So there are some words on here, but that's part of the image, okay? So animal cruelty means mistreatment, animals not being treated humanely, appropriately. It's a very sad topic. So this is a movement to stop any sort of animals being treated. So you see, we could write down as an observation, we see a large elephant has a chain on it attached to the cement. We do see a grouping of several farm animals up here we could write down. We see a man, black and white photo, looks like probably from a long time ago. A pasture, a farm again. And then we see the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. So the RSPCA. That's still around today. Okay, it's an organization in Britain, and the members of this organization protect animals. So the organization now is worldwide, and we have it here in the United States too. It just doesn't have the R for it, royal. So I think it's ASPCA. And it's obviously a society, a group, an organization that makes sure it does everything it can to save animals that are in any sort of situation of neglect. Okay, so this is giving you a heads up. There's more pictures on here. It's kind of hard to see those, but this gives you a heads up. We will be studying about a man who started this Royal Society for of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Okay, so it is a touchy subject. It's hard to read about, but it helps you be passionate about what you could do about supporting fair treatment for animals. And he's a wonderful man from our history, so it's nice to honor him and study him. Well, also, if I move to the next slide, if I can, hold on. Here's the next slide. So another person from our history that we'll be reading supported povern orphaned children. So these are children that do not have parents and didn't have a home. And so we're going to be reading about a man who took in hundreds and hundreds of children to help them and provide them food and meals and warmth and an education. And he's a wonderful man as well, Thomas Bernardo. But I'm sure on your observation chart you can write down black and white, many children, sad faces. We see inside a building here. It looks like there are lots of children here, but it looks like there is a woman teaching them here in the corner. Right, so those are observations you could make while you're looking at these photos. Okay, so we will be studying about orphan children and a man that started putting together some orphanages for them. Okay, and then another slide here, this is another different group of people we'll be studying, and so you'll see symbols that might help you see that this is actually related to Jewish people and how we'll be studying how mistreated Jewish people were back in the mid 20th century, so about 1940, 1950. And we'll be studying, and you could take observations, and you can see many, many people waiting at what looks like possibly, oh no, that's a big fence, um, and a Jewish swastika you can see. And you'll learn this is called a Schutzpass. So you can take observations of this. So we will also, like I said, we're really going to be studying some very touchy subjects. And then here, you may right away notice Rosa Parks up here in the left. So you could write that down as an observation. And it looks like she's arrested there. She's holding up a number, like she's at a police station. We see people picketing, and they have their signs. People getting on a bus. Segregation held unconstitutional, a newspaper. We see Jim Crow laws, restrooms. White people can use this restroom, and the black people, colored people can use this restroom. So we obviously are going to be studying black segregation and how whites were trying to separate themselves from blacks here, right here in the United States. This slide shows a map here, and if you look pretty close right away, I can see Chicago, so I know I'm in the United States, and here's Illinois where we live up top here. And it's pretty hard to see, but there is a key, and this is going to show us black populations and how black people moved from the South and started pushing forward. So we are going to be studying black migration within the United States. And you see a photograph of a black family. Looks like they are dressed and have their dressed for maybe a voyage and have excuse me their suitcases. This is also a beautiful painting. It was a painting and brought into a book that we will be reading called The Black Migration. And this photograph down here, it definitely looks like a Black family looking to move. And there's a train. We'll learn how lots of Black migrants did move and migrate north by train in the early 1900s. That's when the time frame will be for the Great Migration for what we'll be studying. And then finally, this is where we start reading right away. This is the first book, and you're going to see a picture up here in the corner. That's Angel Island, and it's in California. I'll show you a Google map of it, actually. And you see, and this is a part of maybe an official document, maybe something similar to a passport. So we're going to be talking about migrants, many from China, but Asian, so Japan, but many Chinese for sure is what we're going to be focused on, and how Chinese in the United States were excluded and were not wanted at this time, early in the 1900s as well. So it's very sad, very touchy subject as well. Angel Island is here in the United States, and this is where we kept many Chinese immigrants while we were deciding if we would let them really, truly be a citizen of our country. And you'll see how poorly that turned out to be. It's again very touchy, very sad, but important to know happened in our history. Okay, so those were the observation charts, which help you understand where we're going in this unit. So for our first lesson, there isn't any actual reading out of Ready Gen. It is just understanding the theme and the feeling of what courage means, and also understanding the different social groups that we'll be studying and the social movements that were made, and also understanding the very important sensitivity to the topic that we'll be studying as well. So our next lesson will be lesson 2, and that's where we'll jump into the first text, Angel Island. And again, it is in Unit 2, Module B. So we'll do that in lesson 2. Thank you for studying with me.